Good morning, second graders at Tolosa Midway Primary. Today is Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. I'm Ms. Velasquez, and first of all, I just want to say that I miss everybody and I hope that y'all are staying safe and healthy. And today I'll be going over what needs to be done from your lesson. For ELA, it says we're going to read the passage of Ruby Bridges and answer the questions. This is what your paper looks like that you should have out in front of you. I know that you're all great readers. Ruby Bridges is a part of our history, and in case you haven't heard of her, we are going to watch, I'm going to make this a Brain Pop Tuesday, and we're going to watch a little video about Ruby Bridges to kind of give you some more background knowledge on her in case you don't already have it.
We're naming the school library. It's now called the Ruby Bridges Library. Ruby Bridges was the first African American to go to an all-white elementary school in Louisiana. Up until then, whites and people of other races were not allowed to go to the same school. What is segregation? Segregation is the separation of people based on their race, culture, religion, or other reason. Over 70 years ago, there were segregated movie theaters, bathrooms, and even water fountains. African Americans were not allowed to eat at the same restaurants as white people. And people of different races were turned away or mistreated just because of the color of their skin. Schools for African American students were usually overcrowded and poor. There wasn't even enough money for books. Most all-white schools didn't have these problems. Racism is the unfair treatment of a group of people or individuals because of their race. You're right, Moby. It was a very sad and painful time. Can you imagine not being in school with people from different backgrounds? Finally, in 1954, the Supreme Court ruled to end segregation in schools. Schools had to integrate, which meant kids of different races could go to the same schools. Who is Ruby Bridges? Ruby Bridges was born on September 8, 1954, in Tylertown, Mississippi. She and her family moved to New Orleans, Louisiana, when she was 4. Many schools in the South didn't allow Black students to enroll, even though it was against the law. Ruby was going to an all-Black school, but since schools had to integrate, she could go to the all-white school that was better and closer to home. Black students had to take a test to see if they could go to a school for whites. The test was set up to be difficult. School leaders wanted the test to show that Black students failed and weren't ready for white schools. But Ruby did well on the test. So she entered first grade at William Frantz Elementary School, which had only been for white students. She became the first African American student to integrate the school. What happened when Ruby Bridges went to school? Many students, parents, and teachers did not want schools to integrate. They protested angrily and even threw things. But many people encouraged Ruby. U.S. Marshals and supportive community members walked with Ruby and her mother to keep them safe. Ruby was brave, even though it was scary. She stayed calm and didn't get upset. Teachers left, and parents took their kids out of school just because of Ruby. The whole school was nearly empty for months. One teacher Mrs. Henry was happy to teach Ruby. They stuck together, even though many people were against them. Ruby's father lost his job, and her grandparents were forced off their farmland, all because they were standing up for their rights. But Ruby and her family didn't give up. Ruby ignored the protests and kept going to school. Neighbors and community members helped the Bridges family and protected them from angry protesters. Many people believed in Ruby, including Eleanor Roosevelt, who was once the First Lady of the United States. Roosevelt wrote a letter of support and encouraged Ruby. Eventually, students and teachers returned to school, and more African American students enrolled. Ruby Bridges stood up for her rights and encouraged Black students all over the country to do the same. An activist is a person who works to solve problems and address unfair treatment in communities. Today, Ruby Bridges is an activist who teaches about equal rights and encourages people to respect differences. Right, Moby. She's a great role model for all of us. That's why we named the library in her honor. You want something named after you? Like what?
Okay, great. So Ruby Bridges, you're going to read the comprehension and answer the questions. Underline your evidence. Good readers, go back and reread. So if you need to go over a few words, that's fine. Read it at least 2 to 3 times until you feel fluent with your reading, and answer the question so you can comprehend what you heard on Brain Pop and also what you read here in this comprehension. Okay, next up we have, let's see, it says for writing, you can use the prefix anchor chart to help review the meaning of the prefix dis, D-I-S, and we're gonna be working on this worksheet. And it's up here, you can see it's kind of cut off. It says Tuesday, week 3, dis, and the passage is the phone. It has 3 questions, and we're gonna be looking like disconnect, dislike, disobey, disappear, dishonest. So there's disconnected. So also I wanted to, before you read that and answer the questions, like I said, it's Brain Pop Tuesday, just to kind of help you and your parents get some more information, not just on dis, because when you write, you're not just going to focus on using one prefix. So we're going to go over them.
Just add one more to the top. It's okay, Moby. We can rebuild it. What are prefixes? A prefix is a letter or a group of letters that is attached to the beginning of a word to change its meaning. Well, in the word rebuild, the root word is build. The prefix re means again. So rebuild means to build again. When you rewrite something, you write it over again. When you replant a flower, you plant it again. The prefix miss means wrong or badly. So misspell means to spell incorrectly. People misbehave when they mistreat others. Cool. Here's superstar. The prefix super can emphasize a meaning of a word or make it greater. Prefixes can change the meaning of a word. What prefixes give a word an opposite meaning? In the word unsafe, the root word is safe, but the prefix un means not. So unsafe means not safe. This cake has unequal slices. It's unlucky if your ice cream falls. You unwrap a gift. The prefix dis also means not. You might dislike something or disagree with someone. Pinocchio's nose grew when he was dishonest. I can think of other prefixes that give the root word an opposite meaning. The prefixes ill, in, usually mean not. Illegal means not legal. Impossible means not possible. Inconsiderate means not considerate. Irresponsible means not responsible. What prefixes describe amounts or numbers? You can use words that you know to help you figure out what prefixes mean. I know a bicycle has 2 wheels, and binoculars have 2 lenses. A tricycle has 3 wheels, and a triangle has 3 angles or corners. So the prefix bi means 2, and tri means 3. There are 100 years in a century, so the prefix cent means 100. There are 1,000 millimeters in a meter, so the prefix milli means 1,000. I know there are a ton of prefixes, but you learn them as you read. How can prefixes help you understand what you read? I'm reading a book about plants. Some plants can grow in sub-zero temperatures. I'm not sure what the word sub-zero means. I can break apart the prefix and the root to help me understand. I know that a submarine travels underwater and a subway travels below ground. The prefix sub must mean under. So sub-zero temperatures must mean temperatures that are below 0 degrees. Brr.
Okay, so hopefully that helped explain more than dis for prefixes. On here on the top, it does say dis. The meaning is not or opposite of. So go ahead and read the comprehension. Go ahead and read the short text. Answer questions. Make sure that you underline your evidence and answer your questions. And that would be it for ELA today. Next up in math, we are still doing measurement. Let's see. But today we're going to start with measuring centimeters. So this paper is Tuesday, measuring centimeters. Remember, we're always going to start on the 0. I know that your week 2 packet, it came with a ruler, but since this paper has rulers, we don't need to use the one that we had to cut out. So before we start for math, like I said, it's Brain Pop Tuesday. We're only going to watch the centimeters part, so it's only about like 2 minutes. But I just wanted you to see. Here we go. We're only focusing on centimeters today.
Whoa, check it out. The smallest snake in the world is only about 10 centimeters long. What are centimeters? A centimeter is a unit of measurement. A pencil eraser is about 1 centimeter wide. When you measure, remember to line up the end of the item with the 0 on the ruler. Let's see. This book is 16 centimeters wide and 24 centimeters long. The abbreviation for centimeters is cm. You can use a ruler to measure small things, but it's easier to use a tape measure to measure bigger things. Let's see. The height of the table is 62 centimeters. The smallest horse in the world is only about 45 centimeters tall. That's smaller than many dogs. What are meters?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. What you need to focus on for now is your measuring centimeters. I'll go ahead and do the first two with you. Let's see, measure each object. Always read the directions. Measure each object with the ruler shown. Round to the nearest centimeter. When it says to round to the nearest centimeter, that means you go to the next centimeter. So it might not stop exactly on the number. So let's see, it's lined up at the 0. Here's my paper clip. Oh, look at my line. I'm going to kind of, it's right before the 4. So my answer, it's nearest to the 4. So it's 4 centimeters. That's my answer. You do have to write cm as your abbreviation for centimeters. Okay, let's look at the pencil. It starts at the 0, come all the way down. Wow, that one is 15 centimeters. Okay, complete this worksheet. When you flip it over, this side also says Tuesday practice. It says measure the length of each line segment. And you're gonna write how many centimeters it is below. So now, this was your ruler from week 2. I'm gonna line it up at the 0. I'll do number 1, and then you can do the rest. I'm gonna put my 0 here. Okay, so here it's like right before the 7.5 mark. See how it's like right before the 7.5? So I'm gonna say it's closest, it's nearest to 7 centimeters. I don't have to write the cm because I already have it there. Continue through number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now here's the fun part. You get to draw the line segment. Now we're doing the opposite. Here you were given the line and you had to measure. Well, here you're given 4 centimeters. And now I need you to make me a 4. You're gonna make the line. It's kind of hard because I'm holding my phone at the same time. But let's see, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try your best. Start at 0. Ta-da. Okay. So I'm gonna put my little, that's 4 centimeters. So you can do the rest. You're gonna make for 9 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 13 centimeters, and 7 centimeters. You're gonna make a line for each one. Next we have, let's see, this Tuesday practice, we're rounding to the nearest centimeter. Okay, so now it says measure each object using the ruler shown. So we're gonna use the ruler that we have on our paper, and we're still gonna be measuring. Let's see what we got. Starts at the 0, and let's see, the line is right here. It's closer to the 14, so I'm gonna write 14 centimeters. What about here? Let's see, it starts at the 0, it's right. So is it closer to 2 or 3? It's closer to 2, so I'm gonna write 2 centimeters. Okay, do the next ones on your own. When you flip it over, here's a challenge for you. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, you have 5 challenge questions, okay? Let's see, read your directions. It says measure each object to the nearest ½ centimeter. Half, this is half. That means ½ centimeters, half. Earlier, I ate half of a pickle. Half of something. This is how we write half, okay? So look, I'm gonna do the first one with you and then you can complete it because this is a challenge. It's lined up, it starts on the 0. It's lined up, it starts on the 0. And now it's in between, it's right at the half. Where the back of this is, it's right at the half, but it's in between 5 and 6. So it's not closer to 5 and it's not closer to 6. So I have to write 5.5. You can't pick one, you have to write 5.5 centimeters. So I'm gonna write 5.5 centimeters. It's just how it sounds. 5.5. Let me pick another one. Let's see, I'll do the little candy. So if you wrote the half up here, in case you get stuck and you're like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to write, this will help you. But I want you to do 2. Let's see, number 3 starts on the 0. It's in between the 2 and the 3, so it's 2.5 centimeters. So I'm gonna write 2.5 centimeters. complete this full page. And then that's it for our measuring practice today. And the last thing that you had to do for Tuesday, April 14th is your math fact practice. Ask a parent, ask your brother, ask your sister if they can set a timer for you for 2.5 minutes. You should be doing this row. See how many you can get done in 2.5 minutes. It's out of 20. And then check yourself, score, put how many you got correct out of 20. I miss you, TM Primary. I hope to see you soon.